You're in luck because today we're going to build a magnificent 7 trading strategy using AI. So, completely from scratch, we're going to go over Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, Nvidia, and Tesla. So, 7 of those bad boys. Because what's better than buying these magnificent 7 and holding them for a long time? Trading them. Because I don't know about you, I've seen some big drawdowns in all of those stocks, even Apple and Microsoft, especially lately, Nvidia, all of them. So one of the cool things too, there's an added benefit that if you trade all of these simultaneously, well, guess what? Your consistency and your smoothness, it increases dramatically. So there's more winning months, and when there's these nasty little drawdowns, they tend to be much smaller and quicker in nature, kind of like pulling off the band-aid as quickly as possible. And luckily for you, I've already spent $6.2 million developing these AI trading tools, so you don't have to program your little fingers off. So let's get right into it. Okay, so our goal is to build a bunch of strategies like this one right here, which is kicking Nvidia's butt. This is making new all times right here, while Nvidia is still down significantly over here. As I record this, we'll look at the performance difference. Yeah, this is up 26% with the strategy, down about 19% with Nvidia. Now, I'm a firm believer in using templates, so we're going to use a template so we can create all this stuff at once. It's going to be really easy. I'm just going to substitute a couple symbols over here, and we'll quickly get through this and let the machine learning do its work. We're going to fire up thousands of computer cores that are all networked together in the Azure cloud. You know, this is what I get. So I pirated some Microsoft, statute of limitations. I pirated some Microsoft software back when I was a kid. You know, it's like 30, 40 years ago. And now I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars on cloud computing. So I guess Bill Gates is laughing last, right? So all I'm going to do is we'll just start in order here. We'll start with Apple. So I'm going to just type that in real quick. And we'll select Apple. It's all ready to run. So what we like to do is switch between something like Apple and then get into cash and then even into inverse funds like there's PSQ and SH and DOG. Those are some of the top 3 that I like to get into, but we're going to go ahead and get into the inverse NASDAQ 100 when things look bad so we can make a little bit of lunch money when things turn sideways like they did recently as I'm recording this, and yeah, made some money on the downside. And I'll just quickly review this. I think everything looks good here, except for we'll just change this out, Apple. And let's go ahead and make sure we leave not just 20% of the data out of the sample, so it's not optimized on. We're going to leave an additional 6+ months over here. I'm going to give this a super quick once over, and I promise even the other strategies I'm going to build even faster. But things look good. See, there's no rules right here. The computer is actually going to program itself in C code, which you don't need to understand. You don't need to type your pretty little fingers off. The machine does all the work. I used to spend hours and hours, 2 a.m. programming rules into computer and just to see what would stick. And this is why I spent all those millions of dollars. So I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and start the boss here. We're ready to rock and roll. And so what I say is going to be an Apple. We're going to do the Magnificent 7 here. Stay with me. We're going to fly through this really quick. And through the magic of video editing, it's going to be even quicker. So we'll queue up 4 tests for each of them. So what is that, 28? Is my math still good? Yeah, okay. And we're going to do that through Movie Magic. And the reason why I don't want to queue up too many tests is I don't want to accidentally overfit to the past, because if you queued up like hundreds of these tests, just by pure chance, you would end up with an overfit strategy that passed all of your rules. So we don't want any of that stuff. You know, it's hard enough to trade, let alone have a really messed up strategy from the beginning. So let's follow best practices, okay? It only took me 28 years to figure this out. I've been building trading systems since 1997. So like I said, we're going to go to Microsoft in the next one. All right, and thanks to Movie Magic, I've got all those entered in now. You can see I'll go scroll all the way to the bottom. We got Tesla, Nvidia, Meta, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. And what's running right now is Apple. Let's go ahead and check in and see what's going on over there. So it's about 43 generations in. Pretty cool to have a supercomputer network running for you. And you can see what you need to keep an eye on right here is, I can get this out of the way a little bit. There we go. Is you really want this orange line right here jiving with this brown line. So this brown line is this 20% of the data that you leave out of sample. It's hidden from the optimization process. And so you really want those two together, which means that there's some confirmation going on there. But like I'll show you in just a minute, and this is really easy, we want double confirmation. It's a whole lot easier to trade when you have some really killer strategies. And so that's what we're building right now with the boss Super AI. And let's take a look here, see what the other strategies are doing about halfway through. And so what I'm going to do while these are calculated in the background over here, and this test over here looks kind of promising, but it might be a little bit too early to find out. But I'm going to teach you a little bit. We're not going to go too deep right here. Just bear with me. I'm going to show you what the heck the machine learning is doing, what the AI is doing. And so we use this thing called linear genetic programming. Sounds pretty sophisticated, but let's take a look at what it's doing. So it's using basic building blocks. So you have your typical price data. We actually zero out. I don't want any of this in there. We don't want any of this adjusted highs and lows and close and all that stuff. We do want a bunch of math in there, golden ratios, 0 and 1, addition, subtraction, and square roots. See, these are just the basic building blocks, okay? It's going to combine these together randomly, and then through evolution, it just kills off half the population that sucks, and so only the best strategies survive each generation. And you just saw the best of the best after 50 generations so far. It really is through randomness that this happens. You know, I try not to give it too much trigonometry. I don't really care for trigonometry in school either. And so we don't really feed that to the AI much these days because it doesn't really work. So why give it a bunch of basic building blocks that don't work? And we have a little bit more math, sums, and some moving averages are actually mostly zeroed out here. I'm actually looking more for greater than, less than. That's the majority of our strategies are so simple you won't believe me, but that's the truth. And then where the secret sauce comes in is adding a whole bunch of unusual data, such as ETF mispricing, or even breadth actually works pretty good. The trend was one of the few old-time indicators that actually works. And so that's the basic stuff of what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and let some movie magic play out, and then we'll go ahead and look at the end results. All right, so the moment of truth here. This test took about 2 hours for all 7 of the magnificent 7 over here to get done. And thank goodness for high-powered supercomputing, that's for sure. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is look through each of these and see which ones are passing the test and which aren't. I've already starred some of these. And the number one problem is going to be Meta and Tesla. So let's take a look at all the strategies real quick. I'm going to start with Microsoft right here. We'll pull up all the rules will be in this left-hand side over here. Very, very simple. We don't have a lot of rules. We don't have that much code. Simple is what wins. Just keep that mantra in your head. And so what I'm going to do is as soon as this loads up, I'm going to go ahead and push start, and we'll look at the back test and see what we can see. Yep, that looks pretty decent over here. This is the in-sample period. And over here is the data that we hid from the optimization process. So looking pretty good. And just a few rules over here. Let's just look at one of them. And that's looking at that weird ETF mispricing data and doing some real simple math on it. No complex indicators whatsoever. And there's just a couple of numbers I'm going to fly through real quick. I want to make sure the profit factor is good. Yep, that looks nice. And I don't want you to be confused about all this stuff. It's pretty easy though. We have a cheat sheet for everything, man. So yeah, I like those. And then we're going to look at completely out of a sample for the past 6 months. Does it pass muster still? Do the numbers look okay? And so we're going to look at that again, profit factor and average gain. Yeah. Okay, so we have a pass. So we have a winner right here. Next, we'll look at Microsoft and see what we have here. All right. Not bad. I would look at some of these numbers for this example. I'm actually not liking this Maybe we'll select one more, but this is not going to pass my test at all. So we'll look at one more. And I may have clicked on the wrong one, so we'll look at this one over here. There we go. Load that bad boy up. Aha, that was my fault. So user error on that one. So those two numbers look good. Yes, this one's over 2, and then this average gain per trade is over 1. So awesome. I love seeing that. Is it a simple strategy? Yep, just a couple rules in here. And then we're going to go ahead and look at the past 6 months. And then I'm going to fly through all the other ones real quick for you. So it's not going to take too long whatsoever. Let's go look. Yep, that looks pretty good. And we have Amazon just barely passed here. And Google just passed. Shockingly, Meta passed with super flying colors. There's not as much history in this one, but there is some tremendous alpha as Meta actually fell. And then this one's up 76% for the year. That's a heck of an edge. And a massive edge on Nvidia. And unfortunately, nothing on Tesla. Most of the out of sample is very, very far away from the in-sample testing. So I'll give you a couple examples of that. No good, no bueno. So there is nothing on Tesla. So here's what I'm going to do next. All the strategies that did pass my rigorous test, I'm going to go ahead and put them into a multi-strategy and then show you the results. All right, so what I did is build a multi-strategy here. I'm just going to call this Magnificent 5, unfortunately. We didn't quite get to the 7 here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we weren't able to build one on Amazon or Tesla. I figured Tesla, but I'm a little bit surprised I didn't build one on Amazon. I built several on Amazon before. But, you know, this is a quick demo just to share with you what we're doing. So what I've done is just evenly put 20% of the portfolio into each of these strategies: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, and Microsoft. And all I need to do now is hit start, and we can go ahead and see a backtest with all those strategies traded together. And as promised, we do have a lot of smoothness over here. There's a little hiccup over here, but this actually smooths out quite a bit with our other technologies and adding more than just 5 stocks traded at once. It gets really, really smooth. But you can see that even during this recent decline, is it already at new highs? It looks pretty dang close. Let me check real quick. And so, yeah, we're about 1% away from all-time highs, even after the market went down with the Trump tariffs. And a company annual growth rate about 37%. And max drawdown pretty low over there at 31%, which is really, really good considering these are extremely high volatility. And they're very, very correlated to each other. So one of the tips I would give too is you add weird stuff like, in my girlfriend's account, she's trading Visa and Train Technologies. It's stuff you wouldn't normally think that would be high octane, but it sure smoothed out the results. I think she's up, let me check real quick. So she is trading just 5 positions at once, but she's using our MetaML technology. So I'm going to run the back test. And last I saw, because Train Technologies this launched to the moon. How did the strategy know to be in Train? It was in inverse funds just the other day. I swear to you. We'll even look at that real quick. How did it know to get into Train? It was like 2 or 3 days ago. And so you can see that the results over here in the back test are quite a bit smoother than just the Magnificent 7. And that is because of MetaML. It knows exactly which strategies to trade every month, and then it rinses and repeats. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at her performance. This is the back test, but she's like very, very close to that. So up about 11% for the year, while the benchmark is down over 5%. And like I said, she just got into Train Technologies just the other day before it went ballistic. So that thing went way up over here and had just gotten in 2 trading days ago. So, well, there you go. And if you want to know exactly what the heck we're doing and what I spent $6.2 million on, go ahead and download below here should be a comment. There's a cheat sheet you can download for free. Just put in your email address. And I'm going to tell you about this really weird ETF mispricing. It's a weird phenomenon through BlackRock and their global ETFs. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be something completely new to you if you haven't been part of my world. Thanks for watching.